What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we are live on the Shackcast. This is going to be episode number 66. Very much looking forward to a lot of the things that we're going to talk about on the show this week. Make sure you check out episode 65. Last episode was really cool. We talked a lot about Ubisoft and gaming in general, and we sat down with TX Wolverines, and it was great conversation. So, here on episode 66, let's start it off with something a little fun, a little simple, a little kind of, lighthearted and interesting. The biggest thing that we have in the world of Halo, they've shown this on Twitter. It says, ready to see the battle from a new angle. Check out the new Forge updates coming to Operation Great Journey on November 5th, which is tomorrow, which is also Election Day. So you shouldn't be playing Halo. You should be out there voting. Of course, if you're in the United States. If you're anywhere else, go play Halo, whatever. Okay? When you get back home, you're done voting. Play Halo. No, I don't know. I'm not advocating for Halo here. But this does look really cool, and I think I'm going to have to log on myself. Third-person camera. Voiceover lines from Commander Agrina. I'm not familiar with who that is. Improved credit attribution and more. And they do have this little video here. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that we don't look at sound, but I do want to just kind of full screen it. But yeah, it's kind of just like showcasing, like, they pretty much want you to be able to see your character, and of course, if you're buying different armor sets from the store and stuff like that, and you're customizing the colors of your character, it actually feels pretty good to actually be able to see them, especially if you're spending real world money on stuff like that. And I've always wanted Halo to do this, and I've always loved doing things that puts the camera into third person perspective, whether it's picking up a turret in one of the games that forces you into like third person mode, or whether it is driving a Warthog, which is why I always enjoy driving the Warthog. Not only do I enjoy driving, and I'm good at driving, and I was better than most of my friends at driving, especially with the Warthogs, I enjoyed that third-person camera angle, and that very rare occurrence that you got to see Master Chief. I thought that was pretty cool. And, I mean, I guess it helps you see if grunts are behind you, but I mean, if a player's already that close behind you, you're probably donezo anyway. I don't know. They can't see me, but I can see them. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. We'll have to check it out, but one of the big things is if we pull it up right here, we can look at some of the updates here. They even go as far back to reference that before the series was a first-person shooter, Halo was previously going to be a more exploratory third-person video game. And look at that. You actually get to see the armor. You get to see the gun. It would have been a totally different game. I'm not sure if it would have been... It might have still been like a big deal, third-person mainstay in gaming, but like I think a lot of what made Halo successful was being that first-person shooter and was delivering the controls and the feel of a first-person shooter, taking what GoldenEye did and delivering on a whole next-level experience, and then eventually delivering that online. It doesn't mean that the game can't be a great third-person game and that there's no reason to include this. So it's really cool, and we've kind of litigated a lot of this stuff already. The ability to change between first and third person perspectives will be available at a mode level in custom games options and as a scripting mode in Forge. So that means there might even be Forge maps and modes and stuff where creators may have designed it with a third-person angle in mind, or, maybe they're trying to create some sort of mode around it. Maybe it's like parkour and platforming and stuff like that, and maybe it makes more sense for it to be in third-person, where you can see your character and calculate your jumps and your swings and stuff like that if you're using the grapple. It could be really cool. But yeah, the main mode that you're going to get to see this in is players will be able to get hands-on with this in matchmaking when third-person firefight playlist launches, helping you get a handle on what Halo feels like in this new way to play. So that's very exciting. There's a lot of updates here. This is the new commander lines. Okay, it says he's head of the Avery J. Johnson Academy, where the multiplayer aspect of the game is centered. I never really was able to keep up with the multiplayer storyline or understand. I don't know if there's like a place maybe where all the cutscenes are available and maybe I can piece things together. I never really felt like any of that was connecting. Oh, so this guy's going to voice over a bunch of different modes and stuff. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if they have... Do they have... There was a little news bit. Yeah, it might be unofficial. I do believe that there is a new gun on the way in Halo Infinite, and I don't think it's official news. I think it's probably more along the lines of a leak or something like that. But definitely check the links in the description down below of links to everything that we're talking about on the show today. Next, this one's kind of interesting. Twitch faces criticism over Israel-Gaza war content on the platform. Representative Richie Torres, a Democrat from New York, wrote a letter to the Amazon-owned streaming platform last week calling for a probe into one of its top political creators, Hassan Piker. And I think what's really funny here is that this whole deal just gets completely undermined in this article and shows kind of that Richie Torres is kind of a moron. And he doesn't really understand what's going on. So this is a picture here of Twitch streamer Hassan Piker. He is a Turkish immigrant to the United States. Pictured here in the Los Angeles home studio, August 15th. Subject of criticism in a recent letter. We'll probably not read the entire article here, but I'll just kind of glean some of the big things here. So the lawmaker, being Richie Torres, has an accusation that Twitch has seen an amplification of anti-Semitism since last year's Hamas attack on Israel and has put the streaming platform at the center of a mounting scrutiny over its handling of content related to the war. So he wrote a letter calling for a probe into one of its top political creators, Hassan Piker, claiming many of his videos contain, quote, anti-Semitic rhetoric, unquote. A handful of streams are linked in the footnotes of the letter, including brief clips in which Piker is seen issuing his support for Palestinian people, okay, not Hamas, Palestinian people, as in like civilians, and criticizing Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Piker told NBC News that many of the videos cited in the letter were taken out of context. There you go. He noted that in many of the videos being called out by Torres, Piker was criticizing the Israeli government, not Jewish people. So it's not anti-Semitic to critique the Israeli government. It is anti-Semitic to say, you know, sort of racist things against the Jewish people themselves, which is not being done, okay? Critique of government, good. And critique of people, also legal, also good, also not wrong. But when you are being racist or you're calling for the death of a people, that's wrong. But, okay, so I guess, you know, hopefully we did a little Blues Clues segment here on how to separate right from wrong and anti-Semitism from not anti-Semitism, which is just genuine critique here. Uh-oh. The Halo in the background, I'm being told on, yeah, Halo Infinite's ready to play. Okay, anyway, that's neither here nor there. I can't get back on here. Okay, yeah, so criticizing Israeli leaders, including Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, okay? Members of Congress frequently write letters in which they call for probes into different matters. Not all turn into investigations. The letter marks one of the more high-profile callouts of the popular streaming platform over content regulations related to the Israel-Hamas war. And, of course, here's Richie Torres tweeting about it, and he says that Hassan Piker has described Orthodox Jews as quote-unquote inbred, okay, and a Jewish man as a quote-unquote bloodthirsty pig. He's also saying is the anti-Semitic voice of a systematically anti-Semitic platform led by Dan Clancy, who is the CEO of Twitch. The time has come to hold Hassan Piker and Dan Clancy accountable. And, I've never seen Hassan say anything on that level. I think if something like that is being said, it's usually very sarcastic and very satirical. He's never being, serious when, he's making jokes about, voting for Trump or something like that, various things. Twitch has become a hub for political punditry in recent years. Creators stream debates over political issues regularly. Some politicians, including Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat of New York, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who has actually streamed, what did he stream? He streamed Madden with AOC, and then he played some Crazy Taxi, which I thought was kind of wild. And he was apparently saying that the Dreamcast was kind of an underrated platform. Very interesting. These various politicians have made appearances on the platform to discuss politics, sometimes while also playing video games. And unlike other social media platforms in the last year, Twitch has largely averted controversies involving Israel and Gaza. Critics of the platform, including Torres, have argued that hate towards Jewish people has prevailed in the last year, despite Twitch's community guidelines, which do not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance. So I don't see any of that coming from Hassan. I don't see that, of course, coming from any of these politicians either. When asked for comment, a Twitch spokesperson referred NBC News to a November 1st blog post from Twitch CEO Dan Clancy. There's no place on Twitch for racism, hatred, or harassment of any kind, including anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Clancy wrote in the blog post. And he also notes that the platform works hard to ensure that our community is a safe place. Hassan Piker, who has amassed 2.7 million followers on Twitch, said that the attacks on the platform are unjustified. They're just trying to take down Twitch in its entirety for the crime of not punishing me. Piker, who is known online by his usernames Hassan Abi and Hassan the Hun on Twitter. Hassan Abi would be his Twitch username, if you guys want to check him out. Told NBC News in an interview in response to Torres' letter. The Turkish-American streamer said he's been doxxed and swatted by bad actors on the platform, referencing alleged instances in the past, which he said made him contemplate leaving Twitch. But Piker said he's actually combated anti-Semitism for his entire public broadcasting career, which dates back to the time on the progressive YouTube show The Young Turks, created and run by his uncle, Cenk Uygur. Okay? You have to just clip stuff in 15-second increments about complex geopolitical situations to be like, see, he means the exact opposite of what he's saying, Piker said, of the clips in Torres' letter. So, yeah, it's another example of, he says a lot of things online, but he also says those in the length of 7-10 hour streams or what have you. And so when you clip 5 or 10 or 15 seconds out of context, you can make anyone seem like they're saying something crazy. If you clip things out of context, you are missing what? The context. The criticism of Piker came the same month Twitch was accused of disabling signups for the platform for some users of Israel and Palestinian territories. The platform issued an apology on October 20th, writing that it had temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine after Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel in order to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. I mean, this is kind of on point. I mean, I believe that some of that stuff, some things need to be out there, but yeah, it does go against their terms of service that Twitch does not allow graphic material and stuff like that. Just as YouTube has a lot of those same rules as well. They want to protect their viewers and audiences and advertisers and stuff like that. You know, you obviously don't want children seeing the brutalities of this genocide. Signups to the platform were not entirely disabled according to Twitch. Yeah, it's just kind of more on that issue, which is, you know, kind of a side thing at this point. And then there's more that gets into like a completely different issue, which I'm not really into commenting on. It's kind of a bigger issue that would require almost a full video or an episode on that. I just really wanted to kind of comment on this. Yeah, and it does get, you know, further into more of Asana and other conversations that we get. Next, we're going to talk about Dragon Age. One thing I wanted to mention, I'm not going to play anything from this video here, but Iceman, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. Ice Cold Guitar and Negative Coast F for life. I don't know what that means, but okay. I appreciate it. We are once again continuing our work on the Blue Guitar Fund, and I will be setting aside funds for that as people send in super chats. I appreciate that. But yeah, I did link this in the description down below. This is SkillUp's review saying that he does not recommend Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, I have not played Dragon Age the Veilguard. I am going to run just like some gameplay videos in the background. This one is the official gameplay reveal, and I might just kind of skip around and show different footage here. I would like to play the game and sort of get an idea of it for myself. But based on what I saw from like early trailers like this, which actually showcase like, you know, cutscenes, dialogue, and gameplay and stuff like that, this does not appear to be the Dragon Age that I don't know if I'd use the words grew up playing, because I was already like an adult. You know, so I didn't really like grow up with Dragon Age. But Dragon Age was a series that started off on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era, and you had Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, and then of course later on you had Dragon Age Inquisition, which I believe was on the Xbox One. Really, if I kind of like scroll ahead, what I see here is something that SkillUp pointed out, is that all the maps kind of look like Overwatch maps. Like they're very video gamey designed, where it's all like ramps and stairways and narrow pathways meant to funnel you into different lanes, which will eventually lead to these, you know, what I've seen have been like very tedious and spongy fights, I would say, where everybody just takes a ridiculous amount of hits to bring down, which is what has led a lot of people to say, like, as someone that's played 20 hours or 40 hours or 60 hours of the game, they come in and say, well, you know, I turned down the difficulty because honestly I just didn't want to spend, you know, 5-10 minutes on a fight where everyone is just really spongy. It's not that I can't defeat them or that the game is too hard or that it's not hard enough. It's just that this is one of those games that substitutes difficulty for just giving the enemies larger health bars. So that is a difference there. Another thing that I see is that it's not really Dragon Age in the sense of the art style. It does really remind me of sort of a DreamWorks or a Disney Pixar type of look into Dragon Age. Everything's like, obviously this little gameplay slice I'm showing you here is at night, and it looks dark and gloomy or whatever, and they're fighting all these various demons and spirits and such. But it also feels like the people are a little too perfect. Their faces are a little too perfect, a little too pretty. Now, granted, you can create your own character, which allows you to make this game however you want it to be, in a way, where you can create your character to be really ugly. You can make your character really pretty. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be everything in between, and I think that's another thing that, people have either been for or against in this game is the identity politics of, you can make your character trans, your character can be gay, your character can be straight, and people get bothered over that one way or another. I'm not really going to comment on any of that. I do see that the game is not necessarily that I would call the game woke, because that's not really what I think is happening here. I'm going to actually look at high level combat here, and I can't get the search bar to go away. Yo, what's up, Iceman? I appreciate that additional super chat. We'll keep putting that aside for the or the blue guitar fun. But yeah, as we can see here, like, there's just a massive shift in the art style, which I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a comparison later on. I don't know why, but I'm not... I thought I might have queued up some videos that shows the game in the daytime, but nevertheless, you see that they're fighting these characters, and they've designed all these ones with the intention of them being, demonic or scary, or, creatures with horns, creatures with, deformities and spikes and stuff. And, you're basically, Middle Ages type adventure here where, you're commanding your squad of characters, and really it almost plays like a mobile game in that there's cooldowns for each character's moves here. So you're putting a check there. And it doesn't mean that, sorry, let me actually pause it right here. So when you check this one, it means you can't use any of these moves here, and you have to wait for that entire character to cool down. It's not that you can use this ability, wait for it to cool down, then use this ability. That's something I had seen that really reminded me of kind of the way a mobile game plays in terms of mechanics and stuff like that. So once again, it doesn't really feel like it's a true, tried and true RPG. It might be more of an RPG light. And what do we look for that defines an RPG? Okay, we look at things like skill trees, we look at long-term progression, we look at the ability to sculpt the narrative through dialogue options or choices that we make in game, whether it is killing characters or fighting characters, or getting into conversations with characters and making decisions about the world in the game. We are essentially playing the role of the character in the game, and oftentimes it is to make the character in the game either a personification of ourselves or to insert ourselves into the role of whatever, character that we've created in the game. So it's not necessarily that every character we create in the game has to be a mirror image of us and all our morals and everything. Sometimes we wish to disconnect from reality and create a character that maybe we wish we could be, or maybe we create a character that allows us to be evil in a way that, IRL, you obviously, can't be evil, but you get to sort of come out and role play those aspects. So yeah, it's very bright and colorful and cheery in a lot of ways, and I think one of the other issues that I have, yeah, they actually showed it right there, this particular race with the horns, they've really just made it to where these characters actually look scary in the older games, and it's been a while since I've played them, But as soon as I saw them, I was like, that's out of place. Like, that doesn't fit. Like, that, they went a little too human. These look like fearsome creatures. And now you kind of start to see the way everything looks very cartoony, very almost like Overwatch art style for some of these characters, where everything just looks real bright and cheery. And it also does have what we would call like Marvel movie dialogue, like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, you know, I bet you're wondering how I got here. Well, let me run it back for you. And then it does the record scratch or whatever. And it's also true that rather than, you know, all these people speaking in sort of a Middle Earth or, you know, Middle Ages type of grammar and vocabulary and context, they're really speaking in lots of modern terminologies. So they're addressing modern issues in the game, things like, you know, the trans stuff. They're obviously putting that front and center, but they're also just using a lot of like modern slang and a lot of modern grammar, and everything feels very modern from what I've seen of the dialogue in the game. It doesn't really immerse you in another world. It almost feels like this weird hybrid of like, here's our world and a Middle Earth world like mixed into one. And it's very strange, and it's not what Dragon Age has been. And I think what we're seeing overall with BioWare is the fact that, and we've seen this for a while, right? Like we saw it with Mass Effect Andromeda, we saw it with Anthem, you know, we saw it even people that were sort of pulled away by Dragon Age Inquisition and felt that, this doesn't feel quite right, whether it's, you know, not addressing things properly, or maybe it's just a bit of a sidestep of a game. It's really not the BioWare that we grew up playing, you know, KOTOR, the original Mass Effect trilogy, you know, the first two Dragon Age games, Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. So I really wanted to just like run this, you know, visual asset here of a trailer of Dragon Age 2, just to kind of show you like, the series was never really like, it wasn't ever bright and cheery. Like the designs of like the monsters and stuff, they weren't like bright purple glowing creatures, you know. They were ugly, they were scary, they were terrifying. And you know, whether you're, yeah, like no matter what you're fighting here, like you can see that they had an art style that really worked for the series. And there was also a lot of blood in the series. Like after a fight, your character or the characters that were with you would be just like covered in blood. And as you can see here, yeah, dude, the pirate chick. All right, anyway. Yeah, kind of the rogue character. But yeah, you can see the creatures here with the horns, like they look terrifying. They don't look like, you know, some sort of weird Hollywood musical where there's lots of makeup and it's made to look pretty. These are, you know, these are fearsome creatures and monsters. But yeah, Dragon Age 2 really was it, and critically acclaimed at the time as well. But let me pull up one more. So I mean, I think what's going on with Dragon Age the Veilguard is, it's a change in several things. It's a change in art style, it's a change in writing and dialogue and all sorts of things. And those changes, you know, some people love it. Some people are like new to the series. They're what you might call like a tourist, where it's like, hey, I'm new here, I just want to see the sights. Oh, this looks good. So without the context of having played the older games, you don't really see that anything's wrong per se. But if you sort of played all the games in the series and you're well educated and you're well versed in the world of Dragon Age, and I played these a long time ago, so I'm a little fuzzy on some of the details, but a lot of the changes that have been made, just from what I see, it doesn't make me want to waste my time on Dragon Age. It doesn't make me want to invest any money or to even waste my time on it at this point. Of course, if I were to receive a review code, I would love to play it in that context and cover it on the channel so that you guys can make an informed decision based on my reactions, my gameplay, and my assessment. But from what I can see through my breakdown and analysis looking at footage of this game, especially over the past several months. I mean, we've seen trailer after trailer, and I looked at gameplay, and I was like, the gameplay could be lit. It could be really cool. It could look, I always look for games that sort of give you the Batman Arkham style combat, or the Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, that really sells good combat. And I was almost kind of seeing it. I was like, okay, it looks very flippy, and you're doing lots of cool animations and combos and stuff like that, and that immediately can flip some sort of switch. But I'm with Dragon Age, the Veilguard, it really feels like it's just simply a lot of the game is simply set dressing, and it's all made in a linear fashion. It's made to look like it's immersing you in this deep world, but actually you're just running through linear levels, which, once again, I've said that there's nothing wrong with linear games. We played Black Myth Wukong. People were complaining about the linear levels and the design of the levels and the invisible walls and stuff. And I said, guys, we've dealt with this for years. Like, this is nothing new to us. But when it comes to this, all of a sudden, everyone's praising that linear level design, except this level design actually, I would argue, is not as good. It's all very samey. It all looks like the same environments over and over, with just, zip lines and ramps and stairways connecting it all. It doesn't feel like a lived-in world like the original Dragon Age games did. So, I don't know. I would say go back and play the older Dragon Age games. Go replay those if you're really feeling like you have a hankering for the series. Okay, so let me close some tabs here just so we... I think that's where I stand on the whole Dragon Age issue. I just, from what I see, can't really recommend it. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to play it and then see it for myself and be like, oh, actually I was wrong, but I just don't see that happening. And, I think there's better games I'd like to cover on the channel that are a sure thing that I know I will enjoy, and I know that others will enjoy, and I like sharing my joy and passion for gaming. I don't really like to just... I don't do the whole grifter thing. I don't hop on and just hate on games and try to say, like, oh, because I don't enjoy this experience, it has no right to exist. Like, live and let live. But I would say at the same time that you're ruining... Bioware is slowly ruining every franchise it touches. Andromeda, I will argue, is not as bad as people said it was. I'll queue up my playthrough and go back through it some more and finish the game. I'd love to, because I was having a great time with it. I just think some of my friends fell off, and we quit playing the multiplayer, the co-op together, and then I just kind of fell off the story mode when something else came out. So I'll give Andromeda that. And Anthem was a really good game with really good bones, but it didn't deliver what BioWare had pitched us, and then they also didn't want to listen to the community, so that was an issue. And then now, with Veilguard, it just feels like they're taking Dragon Age in a completely different direction and butchering everything that the series stood for, just to simply go for agenda-first storytelling, and then also to sort of tap into this new hipness of the Marvel comics, Marvel game, or Marvel movie style of writing, where everything feels very like down to earth and urban and modern, And it's a story that's being told in like a first person kind of format here. I bet you're wondering how we got here. All right, anyway. So, we're done with the Dragon Age conversation. If you want to catch up on that, I invite you to go back further in the podcast, and we will have a nice full discussion there for you to check out. But next, I wanted to highlight one of Jamie Moran's tweets here. Jamie covers a lot of stuff for Xbox, but he really does share some extra details here that we know about the thing Remastered, and I wanted to show you guys these screenshots here. So he's mentioning 4K 120 FPS in 20 frightening levels. Advanced trust and fear interface adds a new level of interaction, new dynamic lighting, DOF, depth of field, textures, new quality of life features, graphical improvements, and much, much more. And he also mentions that it's coming to Xbox consoles this year. So because he covers a lot of Xbox stuff, it makes sense that he's highlighting that. But this, I should mention, it's also coming to PC. But yeah, just some of these screenshots showing what Night Dive has been doing on this game. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So this is a remaster. And this game is technically another... it essentially extends the series. So, looks really cool. So we'll dig into that. Very much looking forward to that when it comes out. Next, Helldivers 2. I just wanted to highlight this because it looks really cool. Helldivers 2 has a new major order. It says the Helldivers valiantly achieved 2 of the 3 objectives set by High Command, capturing the automaton database and limiting the bot's territorial expansion, but falling short of re-securing the Terminid Research Preserve. Security has been doubled at the preserve, with teams deployed to sweep for interstellar spore landings. Despite the narrow setback, construction of the DSS, the space station, continues unabated. It is currently in its 3rd and final construction phase, and before it can be activated, it must be staffed. Now, this is where it gets funny. Fortunately, cheap labor is emerging from colonies near the gloom that is currently experiencing something of an eruption with extremely fierce attacks coming out of it. The Helldivers are ordered to hold the designated planets while these disenfranchised families make their new home aboard the super weapon. And of course, you can see here the emergency message coming through on Twitter, the new major order, and you'll get a glimpse here of how the Terminids are expanding and moving closer to Super Earth. A little bit of gloom, and then of course you get a glimpse here at the space station. So yeah, you can actually fly over. We did that in one of the last live streams I did on that video. We actually flew over to the system where the space station's being built, and we could see it being built, and we saw a lot of other ships in orbit, and it just looked really cool. So, I don't know, I wanted to highlight that, and I'd like to play a little more Helldivers 2 on the channel. So next, you're probably wondering why Grand Theft Auto 5 is being mentioned at all now, because honestly, this is a game that's been out since 2013. It's already been 10 years. There is a reason. Rockstar Games has published this GTA Online community update with the first details on exciting new GTA Online update coming in December, featuring clandestine operations launched from the Darnell Brothers Garment Factory, plus new community challenges, experience improvements, and more. And of course, if we click on the link there, this opens up here. And, oh my god. Okay, I gotta cover something silly first, because I think it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, there are these sort of, I would call it, like, pathetic accounts that, you know, simply sit here and post about the GTA 6 countdown. And this guy here, and, you know, all credit to him if he's right on this, but I severely doubt it. He's looking at the image of the tweet that we just looked at, and he's looking at the phases of the moon, and he's saying here that Rockstar Games has potentially teased the GTA 6 Trailer 2's date in a picture they posted featuring a moon in the waning gibbous phase, which occurs on November 22nd. Yeah, that's where we're at now. We got people analyzing tweets with phases of the moon to try to predict when this stuff's happening. And I mean, if it's true, that's fair, but even whether it's true or not, I think these guys need to go outside. I think you need to go outside. I think you need to dedicate your life to more than just counting down to GTA 6. I'm excited for GTA 6. I think we're all excited for GTA 6, but I think we all need to take a step back and just try to enjoy other things. Go outside, smell the flowers, drink some coffee, whatever, enjoy life. Play some other games in the meantime. And, just enjoy the world while you're at it. And before you know it, GTA 6 will be here. Everything will arrive in its good time. So they also mentioned here, this is the GTA Online community update, which I actually think is really exciting. So they talked here with Halloween hijinks ongoing in GTA Online, including the first ever trip to chilly North Yankton for the popular new Ludendorff Cemetery Survival. We want to thank our devoted community for another amazing year and look ahead at what's still to come. The past year has been filled with action-packed updates, facing off against corrupt LSPD cops and nefarious drug cartel in the Cluckin' Bell Farm raid. Inheriting Maud's mantle as the state's top bail enforcement officer in bottom dollar bounties and battling it out across the multi-stage military mayhem of assault on ATT-16. Yeah. Alongside new additions to the off-the-books roster of law enforcement vehicles that debuted in the Chop Shop, which I didn't even know. That's pretty cool. Vigilante dispatch work arrived for those looking to clean up the streets of Los Santos, along with daily Madrazo hits for bounty hunters willing to do Martin's dirty work. I think that all sounds really exciting. I think I need to hop on some GTA 5 and see what's up. There's also a new pizza delivery gig to deliver piping hot pizzas to hungry residents, and LS tags spray cans to tag select corporate posters for GTA dollars, RP, and street cred. Plus, the LS Car Meets drift racing scene has new drift tuning eligible vehicles, including the benefactor Vorschlaghammer sedan. I don't know, that looks exciting to me. Yeah, it seems really cool. Only play Red Dead and GTA. Exciting new updates coming in December. The notorious Darnell Brothers garment factory front is under new management with the aid of helmsman Pavel and a former FIB officer turned independent contractor. You'll convert it into a hive for clandestine infiltration operations where you can launch a bevy of thrilling and strategic new robberies. These will be accessible from the computer terminal inside the garment factory or remotely via a brand new app on your iFruit. So that sounds exciting. December's update also features new additional dispatch work missions, new rides, job creator updates, and new upgrades for your benefactor Terrorbyte, including a collectible scanner to help pinpoint a wide range of treasures whenever they are in close proximity, including action figures, movie props, G's cash drops, and many more. Of course, the community challenges there. Experience improvements. Community guidelines. They kind of address more stuff. They're also talking about here more updates and enhancements along the way, such as body armor stock automatically refilling when launching missions. New updates to the Vinewood Club for GTA Plus members, something I haven't really gotten into, but it's that monthly membership they have. The ability to access Hal's special works, Benny's original motorworks, and drift upgrades inside the Vinewood Club Garage's vehicle workshop. That's pretty cool. There's more to come, including ongoing weekly special events and bonuses, festive celebrations, gifts, surprises, as well as plans to bring the much-requested PS5, Xbox Series X and S features of GTA Online to the PC platform in the new year. Please stay tuned to the Rockstar Games Newswire for details. I think they're also mentioning that they were going to do that you will see in next-gen consoles and PC. We'll see ray tracing and shadows and all sorts of updates to visual the visual graphics of the game, essentially. So lots of big performance updates and stuff like that. So a lot to look forward to in the world of GTA 5. Not something I expected, I would say, when we're potentially a year out from GTA 6. Last thing I have here is just kind of a short thing. that Hideo Kojima has seen the second Joker movie, Joker Folie à Deux, and Hideo Kojima thinks people are wrong about Joker 2 and will realize it decades later. Now, Hideo Kojima is behind the Metal Gear Solid series and, of course, Death Stranding, some of my favorite games of all time. And he wrote a little tweet on social media. I'm going to see if... Is that a link to the tweet? Okay, we'll actually talk about the tweet. But yeah, you know, Kotaku's here, you know, saying that it's a horrific opening weekend, and you know, Kotaku and other places gave it negative reviews, calling it a boring courtroom drama. But Kojima says he liked the film's animated opening segment and seemed to enjoy the sequel's meta perspective. In the film's trial that follows, the question of his multiple personalities is argued from beginning to end. Is the Joker Arthur? Is the Joker another personality, his shadow? Who exactly is Arthur? This revelation eventually transforms into a meta perspective. In the previous film, Joker, was it really Joker who captivated audiences around the world, or was it Arthur? This question is constantly raised to Lee and even to the people of Gotham City within the film. Actually, I think we're just literally reading from the tweet. Captivated audiences around the world, or was it Arthur? This question is constantly raised to Lee and even the people of Gotham City. We live in an age of mass production of poetic justice heroes, a battle between good and evil. Lately, many spin-off films with a focus on the villains have been made. Can villains be superheroes too? Is this question posed on the big screen as a DC movie too avant-garde? Was it the Joker that audiences around the world loved? Was it Arthur? This is where the reviews have diverged. Over the next 10 or 20 years, the film's reputation will likely change, along with the permeation of hero movies to come. It may take some time for it to become a true folie à deux, but there is no doubt that everyone in the audience loved Joaquin and Gaga in this film, and he's also kind of attached some of the promotional material and also images of himself. He always likes to prove that he's sitting in the theater watching the movie and stuff like that. So some people really live for a lot of Hideo Kojima's movie reviews, and I just find it quite funny to get his perspective as someone that lives on the complete opposite end of the world and what his assessment are on movies, whether he, you know, he just states that he really liked the movie, or if he has something like this where he has a lot to say. Nevertheless, I think it has me a little excited about the movie, and I am curious. You know, I watch everything that comes through, whether it's DC or Marvel. I think it's important that I cover that stuff. But yeah, I would definitely like to see more. So I'm actually gonna swap that link out in the description down below, and I'm gonna make sure that we have a link to his tweet here. Because yeah, I don't think Kotaku actually adds anything to the discussion in a meaningful way. I think you can read his tweet and understand either what he is trying to say or just in general the context of the movie. Okay, so we made those changes. They may not appear until you probably refresh the page, but we will also have that in the description in podcast outlets if you're watching this or listening when it's not live. But yeah, barring anything else, I believe that's all we have to talk about this week on the Shackcast. I do want to mention that Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I've had some issues with covering that game on the channel. We were doing a playthrough. We probably got about 3/4 or more of the way through the game, and it looks like my save has somehow been wiped. And of course, every time I log in via PC Game Pass, it is resetting the campaign from the first mission. It maintains my multiplayer rank, but it also forgets my PC's graphics settings. I think Barring any major changes, I'm going to keep an eye on patch notes, but I think I'm going to uninstall the game from my PC for the time being, and we'll play some other games in the meantime. I've tried multiple times to reach out to Treyarch, to Call of Duty updates. I've put tweets out there. I've tried reaching out to support. Nothing on that end. I've looked online, and I'm not really willing to try anything crazy that would involve, getting intricate with my PC and potentially changing settings that could endanger me once I start playing the game again, and it detects any sort of modifications to the code or the game that I'm making. So it looks like we will be suspending that campaign playthrough, and I enjoy the campaign, but I really don't want to start it all over again. So I think for now we're just going to leave it at that. Maybe someday I'll work back around to it and finish it, or maybe someday, my save, which is up in the cloud somewhere, will come floating back down to me, and maybe I will be able to recover it and continue to play. But for now, that doesn't seem like the way it's going, and I don't really want to purchase the game on Xbox and see if my cloud save would appear over there, or if the stability of game saves would be better spent on a console rather than on PC, and the odd availability of bugs and issues that happen. I've tried uninstalling and reinstalling the game and all sorts of things. None of that has worked, so I think we're just going to suspend that for now, and we're going to focus on other games that are available on Xbox Game Pass as I continue my month-long promotion of PC Game Pass, which I think, barring the Call of Duty situation that I've had here, has been a really fun experience. We've played a lot of unique and interesting games, and a lot of games that I maybe normally wouldn't have access to or wouldn't play. And so we'll get on to that. I do have a game I want to play tonight, so just hang tight, and I'll get that stream set up after we wrap up the Shackcast here. As far as other things you can look forward to, you can check out my politics channel. I have a link in the description down below. You can go to youtube.com/AaronShackPolitics. That's AaronShackPolitics. And I do have about 4 videos, I believe, out on that channel. And I wanted to do it separate because while I am a very politically minded person, I do like to comment and discuss and talk about those issues at length. I'm going to be making videos over there as well, but I very intentionally wanted to make sure that that was separate from the gaming channel. I didn't want people seeing political, videos and footage and discussions and articles connected here. Although the Aaron Shack channel is not only a gaming channel, it does have a lot of my photography and music and other pursuits that sort of personify me. I think the politics stuff needed to be aside on a separate channel, but if you enjoy that type of stuff, I think I will probably figure out some way to do some election coverage live stream tomorrow, and maybe we can just watch and either seethe or mauled or whatever it says that we're supposed to be doing as we're watching the election results. You can check that out over at youtube.com/@AaronShackPolitics. And that's going to be it for Shackcast episode 66. I'm very excited. A lot of interesting games to play. We've had a lot of fun covering a lot of stuff on the channel recently. I'm very excited with this new pursuit of, sort of having multiple channels now. It's not something I've ever felt like doing. But I think if I just kind of chip away at it and have a narrow focus on that and focus on it when there is time for that, we will get that done. So once again, thank you all for watching. Take care, be safe, have a good night, and we will see you on the next one. I will have a game that we're going to cover here starting up as soon as I can just shut all this down and upload this episode to podcast outlets. So we do have a game that we're going to play tonight. So take care, be safe. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.